Hello and welcome to another edition of MDreaded Television. Today, as part of the 2010 elections, I would like to discuss to you about the Conservative Party leader David Cameron. A few years ago he was elected as party leader after the failure to win the 2005 elections under the leadership of Ian Duncan Smith. What can I say about him? Well, I don't like him. It's as simple as that. I just cannot trust this guy one bit. I mean, he pretends to try and be all things to all men. Well, the fact remains that he's had a privileged education and he's had a privileged upbringing. I'm not saying that should hold anything against him, but, you know, stop pretending. Stop pretending to be somebody's mate. You're not. You're a posh person. You've never done a real day's work in your life. And let's face it, you're about as in touch as ordinary people as I am with a space alien. The reality is, is that you are deluding yourself to think you're a man of the people, whereas the reality is that you are not. I'd rather you didn't pretend to be somebody's friend. I can't stand it when a politician does that. We had this with Tony Blair, and look what a disaster that was. That was another privileged guy with a privileged upbringing who wouldn't know real life if it slapped him in the face. Excuse me. The reality is that David Cameron is too posh for his own good. Not too posh for his own good, but you know, just be honest who you are. Stop pretending to be somebody else. And I don't trust you either on your policies. The Conservatives' record with regards to public services does not trail itself in blazing glory. In the 1980s, you were the guys who kicked off with privatisation of our public services, selling them out to private bodies, and then stripping the assets, allowing them to strip the assets down, make an absolute fortune, and then it ends up costing you more to repair the damage that you've done during the 90s and the early 2000s, especially with regards to the railway privatisation, which was an absolute disaster. So how the hell can I trust you to go anywhere near the railways after what that happened there? I mean, Labour was bad enough, but it was your legacy that caused it in the first place. Stripping the assets down, selling them off cheap, and then people making an absolute killing out of it. The Tories are still the Tories, as far as I'm concerned. And far as I'm concerned, they cannot be trusted. They cannot be trusted with anything. I'll tell you now, if Cameron gets in, it's going to be a bad day, bad news for the National Health Service. Because I believe he's going to make the first moves to privatise the National Health Service and to sell it off as a bad debt. He also is the biggest danger towards the welfare state. A lot of euphemisms have been named. We're all in this together and we've all got to take responsibility for ourselves. A very cute little euphemism for we're going to privatise the welfare state. We're going to sell it off and we're going to make a killing out of it while people on the lower end of the scale will suffer. The fact is they cannot be trusted. Like Labour, like New Labour, like the Lib Dems, they cannot be trusted. They've got to be boycotted. If we are going to take our country back... Oh yeah, by the way, the Lisbon Treaty, he betrayed you lot on that one, didn't they? As far as I'm concerned, he betrayed the British public over that. And that's why they're not so, let's say, enthusiastic about his, challenge to Gordon Brown in the general election. It's just... This guy cannot be trusted. He cannot be trusted. He shouldn't be trusted. You're being led down the garden path. He's pretending to be your friend. Well, behind it, he's a posh guy who's never done a day's work in his life and has never had to face up to realities of struggling. Struggling to pay the mortgage, struggling to get the bills paid and stuff like that. He has never had to go through it. So why the hell should we trust this guy? I'll tell you what, if he was a bit more honest and said, look, I'm a posh guy, I'm privileged, that's the way I am, I was born into it, there's nothing I can do, I'd give him more respect for being open about it. than to hide behind this facade. So here's my advice. Boycott the three main parties, as I have said in the last two broadcasts of MDreadedTV. Boycott this person, because he cannot be trusted. He cannot be trusted with public services. He is going to be ruthless if he does get in. Believe you me. If you think the New Labour is going to be bad, you watch what the Tories do. Well, I remember what it was like under a Conservative government, and how utterly ruthless they are with regards to public services, like the NHS and stuff like that. So I wouldn't trust them as far as I can throw them. That's all for this edition of MDreadedTV. Take care of yourselves and each other, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.